Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Mary and today we're gonna talk about PON, or in more particular the DIY PON. It's quite chilly these days in Hong Kong, and this is why I decided not to touch any of my plants, because at 6 degrees Celsius I'm not sure how any of the plants would react, regardless of whether they are in the house or outdoors. So I just decided to just let them be. As a matter of fact, I have bought just yesterday 2 new plants, but we'll go through this a little bit later. So now for PON. PON is a material that can be used as a soil replacement or in passive hydro, semi-hydro. It is branded by Lechuza, so Lechuza has created this, and it provides ideal aeration supposedly for plants, so most of the plants you can transfer from soil to PON. I would consider it an alternative to leca, although I have to give to PON a few more advantages. We will go through the advantages a bit later. So Lechuza has branded that PON provides ideal aeration for the plants, for the house plants, which is around 45% water and 55% of air, and I found this to be quite accurate because most of my house plants, and especially Hoyas, grow nicely, like really beautifully in PON. I don't have any issues so far. Okay, to be honest, I do have issues with a couple of Hoyas, but I will most probably troubleshoot and go through this in a different video, so this is a completely different story relevant to PON. Now, what is PON? PON is a material that consists of some pumice, some lava rock and some zeolite, and Lechuza actually also adds in this mix a slow release fertilizer, so this way you don't need to fertilize your plants for at least the first 6 months. And this is how the ready-made Lechuza PON looks like. So these are very small rocks in a sense. I would say that they're about 2 to 4 millimeters, all of them. The problem might be that it will not be very easy to find. So where I live, it's almost impossible to find Lechuza PON. Only one supplier has it, and even from that supplier I still buy OEM. So I'm not 100% sure, how clean it is, whether it has been used before. I mean, you can never be sure. This is why I decided, okay, let's research a bit and maybe I can make my own. I mean, after all, it's just, rocks that you can find, I don't know, probably in some plant supply stores or even in construction sites. Even zeolite, for example, I know that in the States is being used to clear the streets from ice instead of salt, so it can be quite easy to acquire, and most probably even cheaper than if you buy the whole Lechuza branded PON. So as I mentioned, this Lechuza PON is consisted of pumice, lava rock and zeolite. The parts consisting is either 4 or 2 parts of pumice. I have read some conflicting information about that. 2 parts of lava rock and 1 part of zeolite. Pumice and lava rock are helping with the water absorption. So if you are using this in semi-hydro, it will help the water go up and the roots absorb as much water as they want. The good thing is that the zeolite actually maintains the pH balance. So PON is quite similar to leca, but the big difference is that you do not have to worry about the pH balance, and you do not need to measure the pH and put pH up or pH down as you do with leca. So this is why I have found PON to be much easier to maintain the plants in. So let's go through these materials one by one. I have acquired some of the pumice, the lava rock and the zeolite required, which I'm going to show you right now. The problem is that I could not find exactly 2 to 4 millimeters, and this is a problem that I have read that it's quite common. So usually you might be able to find slightly bigger rocks, 3 to 6 millimeters, 6 to 9 depending. So this is why most of the homemade or DIY PON is usually much bigger. I don't think this will be an issue for the plants. Of course I will need to try this out, but I do not think that there will be much issues in the water absorption or anything. So first of all, pumice. Pumice I have found this. Let me see if I can take separately so you can have a look. This is 3 to 6 millimeters, and it's quite similar size to the original PON. And then I have found this one, which is a bit larger. So this I would say it's probably 6 to 9 or 8 to 10 millimeters, but still it's fine. So I will be using 3 parts of pumice. I have read a few people are using 4 parts, a few people are using 2 parts. I don't really think it makes such a big difference. Then lava rock. Lava rock is the second material used in PON. You can either find red lava rock, which is, let me try to show you, this one. So I have managed to find quite small sized lava rock, or black lava rock. So they are exactly the same, not much difference. I just happened to find both, so I said okay, maybe I will combine. You will need 2 parts of lava rock, so in any case I could use just, you know, one of each. And the last one is the zeolite. As mentioned, this helps maintain the pH balance, and it's actually one of the most important ingredients in PON. And this is the green part that you see. So this is zeolite. The other thing that you can use is one slow release fertilizer. Lechuza does not name which fertilizer they are using, but from what I've seen and from what I've researched, they use Osmocote. If you cannot find it and it's not readily available, I use Nutricote. It's more or less the same thing. So even after my PON, let's say, has its fertilizer expired, so after 6 months of usage, I usually replace with some Nutricote. I don't put much, just a bit, because I use some hydroponics fertilizer as well on top of that. So even if I don't use any Nutricote or Osmocote, it's still the same. So let's try to make it now. I have my big bowl here, and I'm gonna put the 3 parts of pumice. One, the smaller one, 2, and then again some big one, 3. The black lava rock, the red lava rock, and the zeolite. And I'm going to mix this very well. And here we have our own PON. So let me show you the differences between the two. The one which is homemade, DIY, and the one which is the original Lechuza PON. If I can put them side by side. So as you can see, my PON is quite bigger and more chunkier, let's say, than Lechuza PON. But truth to be told, it's also much more cost effective. So all this full bowl costs slightly less than this, or maybe 2 parts of this. So as you can understand, making your own pond can be much more cost effective in the long run, especially if you have many plants in pond or you want to transfer many plants in pond. So one of the big advantages of pond is that you can reuse over and over again, as it's inorganic, so it doesn't break down as normal soil would do. One thing that you need to note is that before you use your own DIY pond, or before you even mix, I have now mixed and you see everything is, you know, clean and very tidy, but I have washed thoroughly everything before. Lechuza PON I don't use beforehand normally, because I get it in a package. You just plant, I use it only for semi-hydro. I just plant my plants in, and then I just go and flush the pot, and whatever, you know, dust or any residue it has, it just goes down the drain. But for this one, since I am using individual components, I have decided that, okay, since I am doing the job, I might as well do it since the beginning. Plus, if you try to mix pumice, it's extremely dusty, like extremely dusty. So it's much better to do it wearing, you know, some mask or something, rather than just go and try to mix everything, because you will have a cloud of dust forming. But all in all, it's quite good, because it's, as I said, much more cost effective, and you can always reuse over and over again. Now, the advantages over leca. Leca, by the way, is used in semi-hydro, similar to PON. PON can be used as a soil replacement as well, so you don't need to have PON in semi or passive hydro. You can just use it instead of soil and just water your plants as you would normally water them when you have soil. The good thing is that, as I mentioned previously, you do not need any pH adjustment. Because of the zeolite, it auto-corrects the pH, so this is the huge advantage over leca. Another thing that I have noticed, I'm not very proficient with leca, or I would say I'm not at all proficient with leca. I only have a few orchids and there are few other plants, is that it doesn't need as much flushing. This is what I have noticed. PON doesn't have any minerals built up as leca does, or it doesn't have so many. So even when I flush my pots, when I flush pots with leca, I usually do it like once every month. With PON, I may do it every 3 months, once every 3 months. Another thing which many people might think it's a disadvantage, but I personally love, is that PON is much heavier, so the pot ends up being quite heavy. I do like this because I like sturdier pots in general. Plus, if you have plants in leca, you will see that as the plant grows, you might have, you know, like ending up like, I don't know, the Tower of Pisa. You will not be having this with PON, because technically it's rocks, small rocks, but rocks. So when a plant gets in, especially if it's a newly propagation, they tend to stay where they are, they tend to stay put. With leca, you might move them a little bit, like from one place to the other, and then suddenly you might see the plant going like that, because the root system is not very well established or whatever, and you might need, you know, to take out, repot or whatever. So this is why I do like PON much more. So I think that's it in general. I will try to move in PON probably my 2 new plants, which I will show you right now. So last night I got this baby Monstera Darsoni, which is a bit... okay, it had seen better days. Especially, you know, the leaves are a bit like broken, wrinkly, but I can see here that it has some good aerial roots, so I will probably transfer this from soil to my DIY pon. And I have also got this Oxalis triangularis, which is quite a full pot and it's super cute. And you know, guys, it's like, you see, it's purple. It has purple leaves with pink flowers. I mean, what's not to love from this? So I will try to uproot and then transfer to pon as well. I even see, you see it here, it has some new growth, some new leaves forming. I'm not sure how many corms I'm gonna find inside, but I believe that it will be a good transfer, fingers crossed. So I'm thinking that maybe I will transfer both of these to pon. So I will, once the weather gets a little bit warmer, because now I don't have the energy to do anything, to be honest, I will clean up thoroughly the roots, and then I will try to transfer over directly to pon, to my DIY pon, to test both the plants and my pon as well. So that's it for today. I hope you liked the video. If you did like what you saw, please like and subscribe. And as usual, thank you for your time, and I will see you next time.